So I have a question for you. What is it that your customers are actually looking for? Is it your product or service that they really want, or is it something else? And what do they need to see or to hear without you chasing them down and convincing them to buy? Trigger number one that businesses get wrong is language. Language is words that sell. So why is language important? If you use the right language and the right words in your business, your sales will skyrocket. But if you use the wrong ones, your customers will feel confused, they will not understand you, and they will buy from somebody else who have mastered that skill. When you confuse customers with what you say, they just don't feel completely sure, and there are many studies that show that when people are a little bit not sure, they prefer not to take any action at all. Confused customers simply leave. So if they don't understand you, they don't feel the emotional connection, they feel discouraged, and what happens, they actually, and let's say even if they buy something, they never use your product or service. So mastering that one first skill is really important, and it's again easier than you think. Just pay attention closely. Language is everywhere today. You're writing emails, blog posts, you're writing headlines to the emails, you're writing subject lines, you're writing headlines to your blog post, you're speaking with your partners, you're speaking with your employees or co-workers, you're communicating to people around you every day, and the words you use make or break the message that they understand. Did you know that 80% of our communication, when, again, let's say two people meet face-to-face, not online, 80% of our communication is not achieved through the words themselves. I've worked with a few very high-end body language experts, and they confirm that. Hey, Frank. What they say is more than 80% of the communication is the body language, is the smell, is the tone of voice, is the eye contact, it's the way your skin looks, all the subtle nuances, and only about 17% is the words. So you say, if words really 20%, why bother? Like, why learn about language? Why should you care, right? Well, you should care because we live now in a totally digital world, and if we don't meet in person, and if you see my website, or if you see your client's brochure, or if you see somebody's social media post, what you're working with is only less than 20%. You just have a few pictures and you have words. That's it. It's just structure, design, positioning of the text, spacing, the size letters, and that's about it. So it's very critical that you understand which words to use and how to sequence them right so your customers feel the emotional connection with you and they actually follow you into buying. Do you know that most books that people buy never read through the first chapter? So people just buy it, they immediately feel well that, okay, problem solved, you know, I have it just in case, I have the solution here, and they put it on the shelves. Over 80% did never even open it. And those who do just go through, you know, first few pages, and that's it. Now, there are many reasons why that happens. It could be the poor design, it could be the poor selection inside the book. Sometimes the text looks too wide. There are many studies that show if a person is looking at a text and it looks not digestible, it's like just a chunk of text without paragraphs, without small pieces like they can snack on, they just think, oh my god, it's not manageable, I'm not even going to read it. That's the reason a lot of people hate long emails. So the way you just got to learn how to break them so they're in chunks. But if it's just a complete line of long text, nobody's going to ever go to the end or even open that thing probably. There's an interesting insights come from Michael Patterson. Michael Patterson is a best-selling author that wrote a gazillion of books, and every place you go, any supermarket, he has a new bestseller, and he's probably having people writing for him already. But he's figured out how to create bestsellers and page turners. Not saying he's going to win any Nobel Prizes for the literature, but he is a best-selling author, and his books are read pretty fast. So Michael is coming from the direct response industry. Direct response industry is those people that send you mail to your house and they want you to respond. And that's how they measure whether it's effective or not. So these people test every message, they test every word, and their core purpose is to optimize the message in a way so the highest amount of people will respond back to them. And he was sharing some of the secrets from how his books are bestsellers, and he actually has a course now, I think you can look it up on YouTube, how he's teaching authors to create bestsellers. I'm not promoting him, I'm just saying he's rolling out that knowledge for high ticket. I think it's like $1,000 or more. But what he's telling is, first of all, each chapter, since most people are kind of reading his books on the fly, maybe airport, vacation, they don't have time to sit for 20-30 minutes to read it. So he's adjusting to that. And each chapter is like a small chunk. And they're designed to be read in under 5 minutes or so. So he knows the attention span of a customer, of a reader, is very short. So when you open that first page, and he wants to make sure that you're going to go through next page and the next page and the next page. So he's adjusting the psychology. First of all, he's starting out with a bang. So the first headline is usually, he's giving an example. I remember the first time I got killed went something like this. And so he's just creating some intrigue right from the beginning, and then each chapter is short, and it has to end with a hook. She opens the door, and you're like, now I need to read the second one, you know. So he sucks you in as you go, and the text is not really wide, right? If you open any of the books, you'll see that the page design is really narrow, right? So it looks, so you don't go with your head like this, so you don't get tired, so you can scan with your eyes. Like a newspaper article, if you remember the newspaper, it designs the text in small consumable chunks, not long sentences. And sometimes people write the sentence and it just doesn't make any sense. You know, break a paragraph and move it. So little things like that create a big difference. Now, what about your business? How can you use this information and address that short attention span of your visitor, reader, customer, and get that message across a lot faster? Now, here are the 3 most common mistakes people make with language in business. First of all, most people do a data dump. They just, whatever's in their head, they unload on you. There's no structure, there's no purpose, there's no flow, there's no consideration of the customer. It's just, oh, I know all this stuff, let me just spill it on you. And within 30 seconds, you're like, oh my God, I completely don't understand what the person said. I'll call you back tomorrow. And of course, they never do. The data dump also happens when, if you notice, a lot of companies communicate in a corporate kind of alienating tone. Dear sir, how would you like to open this email today and maybe pay attention to one of our special offers? What? Like, nobody talks like that. So as soon as I hear a message like that, these people are not real. It's like a robot. It's a corporation. They're trying to sell me something. I'm out. Okay, so I'm not even opening the email. No communication. So the good communicators know not to use the corporate language. What's the best way to communicate? There were studies done on LinkedIn, and they wanted to see which posts are read the most. Okay, and there was a special grading scale that they used, and they went from K1 to K12, and they wanted to see basically if the K12, if the top people, are they using sophisticated language, basically like a college graduate or university professor. This is the style they would communicate in, versus the simple language, like the 7th grader or the 5th grader communication. And what they found was very interesting. They found that it's not the most educated people that wrote the best articles that people actually read. Again, coming back to Michael Patterson, it's a simple language that he's using, and people are okay, it's relaxing, and that's why you get sucked in. It's how people communicate. So the way you should communicate is as we speak right now. No special lingo, is as you speak with a friend. Okay, so imagine yourself, if you would record yourself with a phone, that's the tone you communicate. Okay, it's not when a lot of people start writing emails or promotional materials or website copy, they jump into this official mode and they immediately lose the connection to reality. And as soon as a customer comes in, they see that and like, no, not for me. Okay, it's they speaking to somebody, but not to me. So again, confused customers do not buy. Mistake number 2 is the language that people use in business is they make it about them. It's not about the customer, and that's a big mistake. For example, they keep saying I, or we do debt consolidation. We're in business 25 years. We're the best company. We have this such fancy equipment. It's all about them. And you know what? Frankly, nobody cares. Instead, you want to talk about what the customer actually wants to hear, and you want to use the language you, for you. Not me, it's not about me, it's about you, the customer, with a problem. There was a fascinating study done by AT&T. I don't know if you're aware that when iPhone was named iPhone, there's a reason behind that. It seems kind of weird, but it was based on an old study from AT&T where they were listening to all the phone calls and recording them, and they just wanted to again see what was the number one word that was used the most throughout the whole communication system, right? What were people saying? What was the winning word? Can you guess? Of course, it was I. And it was about, I mean, the difference was huge, okay? It was probably in a 50 or 60 percentile. That's the number one word used by everyone. Everybody's I, okay? And can you guess the word number two? It wasn't a 25 percentile, but can you guess what's closer to I? Me, right? So when Steve Jobs was coming up with a name, okay, so I have a phone that's all about me. How can I call it? iPhone, boom, okay? So when you talk to your customers, it's about them. It's not about you. Don't forget that. Mistake number 3 is people start talking immediately about the process that they're going through and not about the result or the pain they're solving. Okay? Stick with me here. It's actually quite simple. Let me ask you a question. Why do you go to a pharmacy when you have a toothache or a headache? Is it because you want the pharmacy? Or you want to get out of your pain? So if you were to draw a line between where the customer is right now and where he is out of pain, that's the end result, right? The customer is here. Now the medicine is what gets them out of pain. That's the mechanism, right? That's the method that you're using to get him out of pain. But he wants the pills so he gets out of pain. If he had a choice to not have the pills but still get out of pain, he would take that, not the pills. The same with your business. If you're creating a website, why does a customer want a website? Because a website? No. What do they want? They want visibility, they want traffic so customers can come by when they're asleep, they want authority in their field, they want automate things so they don't have to pick up the phone and answer, just fill up a simple form. Each person wants something else, and it's your job to find out why your customers are coming to you, and when you understand those words, you use them. But just so you know at this point, it's not about the process, it's about the end result. And would that surprise you that 99.99999% of people get it wrong? And it took me years to get out of this habit as well. I was talking to one of my web designing friends and I said, I can't believe it. I'm telling people not to do it and I'm still doing it myself with my marketing, and okay, now we have to change that whole thing. And hey, it's not natural to focus on the other person and on the other person's result. Okay, it's natural to focus on ourselves, it's natural to focus on the job we do, and that's the employee mentality in a way that when you say, hey, but I worked for 40 hours, so I gotta get paid, but if there was nothing achieved during the 40 hours, like what was the result, for example? So when we come to business, we need to switch that thinking, and we need to get out of this, work was done mentality and switch into the mode, okay, what am I focusing on? What's the result I'm actually achieving here, okay? So that's the critical distinction. So the key thing to understand here is when you talk about the process, you confuse the customer because you're giving them something that they don't want. When they go to the gym, do they want to go to the gym? Probably not. They have to go to the gym so that they lose weight, so that they become stronger, so that they gain muscle or get energy, right? That's the end result that they want. They don't want the gym. Again, if they could skip it and take some fancy medicine that would give them muscles tomorrow, which are for sale actually, they would do it every day, and a lot of people buy those pills, and then they say, oh, okay, I actually have to go to the gym and work for it. Okay, so we're gonna slowly come back to those little distinctions here, and you'll see what kind of difference it makes in your business. What you want to remember is people are not buying the process, they're buying a result at the end of your work, okay? And that result has to be something in real life. It cannot be, oh, you're gonna feel good with my website. How do I know? Like, can my neighbors see that I feel good? Or do I actually see in my analytics, oh, this website brings me 10 customers every day and one of them calls me. Okay, so I know it works. Okay, that's the result I'm buying. If there's nothing measurable at the end of that process, then we have a problem. Now, why is that, by the way? This is actually the number one evolutionary mechanism that has us constantly on guard, which I'm sure you heard about, the fight or flight mode. There's a part of our brain that's constantly looking out for problems, okay? Because this part is responsible for your survival. If something jumps right next to you, right, you're just ready to go. Why? Because there's always something in the back of your brain in case an earthquake happens or a building falls down, you're ready to just take off and maybe grab something on the way. This is the reason why most of the news is actually negative stories. Have you noticed? If you look at the news any given time, any given hour, 9 out of 10 stories are totally negative. Why? Because the negative stuff grabs your attention right away. Oh, there's a problem there. So you're looking at this box with a problem, because we're triggered by problems, not by processes, okay? So imagine if the news would be showing unicorns and flowers and peaceful meadows and people are suntanning all the time. Would anybody pay attention to the news? No. That's why they show you 9 out of 10 bad stuff, and then they sprinkle with some of the, oh, look at this movie today, and again, boom, explosion, or they just... There's a saying in the news industry, if it bleeds, it leads. Okay, so they try to find in the morning, okay, what's the worst stuff that happened today? And they try to spill it on you. Okay, so be careful when you turn on the TV. I try not to do it early in the morning. Summary here is we are triggered by problems, and we only move actually when it's painful or if it's hard. So when we pay our bills, actually most people pay their bills when they're about to get disconnected. Most people go to the doctor when they can't take the pain anymore. It's not proactive, right? So if you're talking to your clients about the proactive stuff, oh, wouldn't you wish that this and this would happen? They're probably not doing it because they want something. They want to get out of the problem that they have. So if they want a website, they probably don't have customers, so that's why they need it now. So the more you talk about the customers, the more they're going to buy from you. If they're coming to the gym to work out and you're selling them personal training maybe, then you don't want to tell them about this fancy new equipment that you just got and look at the bright paint and look at the posters here. I really don't care. I mean, the atmosphere is nice, but it's not my primary goal. Why I'm there is either my doctor told me, hey, if you don't lose weight, something's going to happen and it's probably not going to be good, so you got to get moving. That's why I'm there, okay? I have to, okay? So, and that's a critical thing to understand, that most people in life in general will do something because they have to, not because they are proactive. Now it's time to a little exercise, so please pull out a piece of paper and hopefully a pen. Question number 1. What do you think your customers are paying you for? What's the result that they're getting from your service, from your product? And try not to focus on yourself. I know you love the thing that you do, and if you have some paying customers, it's really nice. I congratulate you, because a lot of people don't. But if you don't, especially pay attention. But think about it. Why do you want, in your business, whatever the problem that you're solving, what is that problem from the customer's point of view? For example, if it's the website, like we said, it's either customers that they want, authority, they want to look cool, they want to automate things, they want to get rid of some frequently asked questions that people ask them all the time. So it's one of those things, and if you survey them, they're going to tell you. But most people, since we're selfish, remember, all of us are, we never even ask, oh, I know why my customers are buying. And every client I work with, pretty much, they all say, I know my customers, and when we start surveying the customers, they don't know the customers. They tell us the words that the owner is pretty much, oh, I didn't know, I would never guess. Exactly. That's why you want to ask, okay? So if you don't know, ask them. If you know, write it down. What are the problems they're paying you to solve? What's the result that seeing in real life? What's the measurable result? Is it customers? For example, if you're doing sales training, they don't want the sales training. They want something after the sales training. It's probably more confidence to close higher deals, perhaps. Or again, ask them, why are you coming to pay me for the sales training? If you're selling beauty products, your customers are not buying beauty products. What they're buying is looking younger, aging well. When they come to the school reunion when they're 55, they want to look better than all the girls in the classmates, right? All of them. So hopefully 10 years better or 15 years better. So it's not the product that they're buying, it's the result at the end of the product that they're buying. If you're in the nutrition market, they're not buying the nutrition. More energy, lose fat, fit into smaller clothing, maybe, right? Fit into the skinny jeans or the stuff that I used to wear 20 years ago and it's still in my closet, and hopefully maybe I can get in there. In my last survey, actually, we found that 65% of women, they have one of those pieces of clothing hidden somewhere and they never throw it out. So if you talk about that, they will pay attention. If you're teaching yoga, for example, then they're not buying the yoga, they're buying maybe resilience, it's flexibility, it's get rid of back pain, which yoga helps with. So make sure you write down why your customers are actually paying you. Try to come up with 3 to 5 words. You can go for 10, that would be the gold medal award, and write them all down, look at them, and see if any aha moments here, if anything goes, oh, I never thought about that. If you don't know, send a survey to your customers, ask them, why did you buy? Like, what was the result that you got from me? And make sure that you don't paraphrase what they tell you. Make sure you listen to what they say. You want to use their words, okay? Get rid of back pain, for example. If that's the phrase they use, then this is your message. My yoga helps you get rid of back pain. Understand? Okay. So once you narrow down those messages, you're going to use them over and over and over again, because those are the trigger words that your customers react to. You don't need to introduce anything new. If that's the thing that works, we're going to stick to it at this point, okay? So let's do a brief summary here. Here's what we've learned so far. We literally live in the best time in all the thousands of years of human history to start and thrive in business right now. But most people don't. Why? Because they never figure out how to get the customers to come and buy from them. And the first critical trigger is the language that you use to get the attention of your customer. Okay? You only have about 30 seconds maximum. Go for 3. That's going to be the best. But think about it, you have a small window of opportunity and you need the specific words to use. Remember, it's not about you, it's about your customer. So talk about the customer's problem and how your service or product solves that problem, and talk about it over and over again. And use a simple, friendly tone of a 7th grader communication level, okay? Do not go for the professor level. People will not understand you. If you use lingo, any fancy, sophisticated word that only the industry professionals understand, people will not understand you and they will not buy from you. I cannot overemphasize the importance of this first trigger, because this is the barrier of entry that most businesses just put up there and they stand behind it, acting surprised, why is nobody buying? Because simply nobody understands, and you don't have the time to convince them and give them all your spiel about the 20 years that you spent in the industry at this point, okay? There's a place to that, and we'll get to that later on, but for now on, find the trigger words, find the hot words, and use them over and over again in a simple way. And just this trigger alone can transform your business right away if you'll apply it. But this is not the only trigger that affects the buying decision. You need to combine the language trigger with the second trigger, so it has a lot more impact on your customers and with your message. And with this trigger, what we want to know is 2 things. How can we stand out from the crowd? Right? How can we separate ourselves from the competition? And how can we raise our fees and actually get more referrals? Is it possible? Let's find out with trigger number 2, which is authority.